Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new, I'm Nyx with Crowmate's Apothecary, and today I'm bringing you a tarot pick-a-card reading where we're going to be getting your Mabon messages. So this is for this upcoming Saturday the 23rd. And I'm doing this reading a little bit differently today. I have 4 cards laid out before you, and I want you to be drawn by the art or the words on the card or the crystals that line the top of them. So starting on the far left side, we have the Finch and Peach with romance, along with the skull sight that's representing group number 1. Then we have the salamander and black pepper, along with inspiration, and this yellow adventuring that's representing group number 2. Then we have the frog and lotus with metamorphosis on this card, along with this bloodstone representing group number 3. And lastly, we have the hare and oak with new opportunities on the card, as well as this sunstone representing group number 4. So if you need a moment, feel free to pause the video and meditate on the cards that I have laid out before you. And when you guys have made your decision, head on down to the description box below and click on the timestamp that corresponds with your group. Remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick-a-card readings in the future, as well as joining the Crow Coven, and I will see you guys in your reading. Hello group number 1, and welcome to your reading all about your Mabon messages. So if you were drawn toward the Finch and Peach with romance, the first thing I'd like to say on here is that obviously there is that chance of perhaps within Mabon season you will find romance within another, but it's also possible you could be finding it within yourself as well. The other thing I'm seeing in this card is there's a lot of sweetness here with that peach. So this could be that there is going to be a shift going on where you're going to be finding much more peaceful and happy times. Life will feel a lot sweeter. And also along with that, seeing this finch, we're really getting this feeling of movement and this feeling of freedom because the bird is representative of the skies. I'm also seeing that this is very possible that you could be drawn to this card because you are an air sign or you have air signs within your chart. Also, represented by this skull sight here, this can really help bring about this sense of calm and serenity, especially when you are going through some painful times in your life, or if it's just really hectic, it can really help calm you down. It can also encourage having this sort of breakthrough moment where you can finally feel less stagnant and you can feel this movement within all of your energies. So your emotional, physical, and mental energies can finally start working for you instead of against you. So lastly, I'm going to roll this Astro Dice a few times. This is going to be either your sun, moon, or rising, or it could be the zodiac sign of someone important in your life during this time. Wow, this one rolled forever, but the first one we are seeing coming out is Taurus. Then we have Leo. And lastly, we have Aries. So I'm going to set that aside and we will get started in your reading. So I hope you've been doing well, group number 1. I hope you've had a great week and that it just gets better from here on out. I'm going to shuffle this up for you. We're going to see what messages you have coming toward you during the Mabon season. And again, it starts on Saturday the 23rd. We're seeing the 3 of Wands as well as the 3 of Cups. So very funny that we've had 2 cards in a row that have the 3s. An 8 of Wands. And then lastly, ooh, this card was backwards, the Ten of Wands. Okay. So the first thing we are seeing here in this Three of Wands is almost this feeling of you preparing for something. There's going to be this expansion, this growth sort of moment. And because of this, you are currently in the works for preparing for this future. You know that this is coming into you, or at the very least, you've been trying to manifest this into your life, and now it's kind of seeming like all of the like everything's aligned, and you're finally going to be able to see movement on whatever this Three of Wands moment is, whatever this new idea or opportunity that you have. It's kind of finally coming to fruition, and it is lining just perfectly with you guys during this time. Next, in the Three of Cups here, we're seeing this sort of like celebration. We're seeing this time for friendship and community where you and others around you are really rejoicing for some reason or another. This is gonna be a message for not everyone who's watching this, but I am getting the feeling almost like this may indicate some sort of pregnancy. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we did have romance in the Finch and Peach. Again, that sweetness in life, having like obviously the good news of a child coming into your life if that's something that you want. This Three of Wands showing that preparation and having that foresight for the future. And then Three of Cups is also a card about, yes, that celebration if you are celebrating the new life coming to you, but also seeing how these skulls are pouring into one and this new life is blooming from the skull head here. I'm really taking it almost very literally when I'm seeing this card, is that if you are trying and or maybe you're about to share this message, it could be around this time. Again, birds are also known as messengers, so it could be that kind of message. Otherwise, if that does not interest you or that is not in the cards whatsoever for you guys, it could very much just mean that you are going to have something to celebrate about with other people in your community or with your friends. Next, we have the Eight of Wands, and in this card, it really indicates that quick movement. Again, like how I talked about here with the Finch, is having that quick movement, that change, things like that. The Eight of Wands is one of the fastest moving cards in the deck, and it is very much a like, things are coming at you very fast. It's like strike while the iron is hot kind of card. It can also indicate travel. So if that is something that you might be celebrating, that could be a thing that either you're going on a trip during this time, or maybe you are taking Mabon to sit there and actually plan a trip for yourselves. Also, it's interesting because we're seeing on this card these seeds, and then the leaves are kind of birthing from it. So it almost feels like it's a newer idea, like a newer thing that's going to be changing and growing into something. And then lastly here we have this Ten of Wands, where it's showing that there is a lot of hard work and responsibility that's going to be pressed upon you. Again, I'm calling back to that message that I was receiving about a potential like pregnancy celebration going on, is that this Ten of Wands indicates that yes, there is stress, there is this burden, the responsibility, you having to put in really hard work, but it also indicates some sort of achievement. So you are going to be able to achieve those things that you're putting all your time and energy into. It's not something like you're working towards something and it just doesn't get done. You have 4 cards that are all upright, all very positive cards, and so it really gives me the feeling like you're almost starting your journey here where you're making these plans and you're really trying to go forward and expand on something. And then here, this 10 of Wands is indicating, yes, you get to celebrate because you're so happy for making this decision. But at the end of the day, you know that you have a lot that you have to put into this in order to get it to work. But again, I'm seeing this good luck on your side. I'm seeing this movement and you being able to accomplish whatever goal it is that's here that you are working towards. That is a beautiful message for you guys to have outright. Let's continue with your reading for Group 1's Mabon messages. What else can they look out for during this time? We have Virgo here, which says supportive, reliable, and meticulous. So again, this could be in your chart or it could be someone important to you during this time as well. Perhaps those traits are ones that you need to take on, particularly that meticulous planning, being very reliable when it comes to working through these goals that you have. This card just sort of slid right out. Rose quartz with self-love and compassion. So having a lot of love for yourself during this time, not trying to stress, not trying to put too much pressure on yourself. You're already doing that with this need to put in a lot of hard work, but making sure that you are doing so where you're not talking down on yourself or putting undue stress onto yourself. Lastly, we have Aquarius, which is actually our first air sign that has made an appearance in this reading. So we have Aquarius with visionary, inventive, and eccentric. Again, that could be in your chart or things that you need to focus on during this time. I'm also getting almost this feeling of to try to hone in a little bit more. This almost feels like an artistic situation here because the wands tend to deal with that almost like inspired artistic kind of situation. And we're seeing a lot of wands here. And I'm getting that feeling a lot with Aquarius, especially with it being visionary, inventive, not being afraid of putting yourself out there, especially during this time. I'm going to pull some self-care cards for you, group number 1. So what should group 1 focus on during this time for self-care? The first one is watch a movie. So it's very cute in here with this figure holding their cat to them. So this could be something that maybe you're doing all on your own just to kind of relax and meditate, not to be disturbed when you're either enjoying a new film or one that is sort of like your comfort movie. It's obviously something you can do with friends too, but it would just be great to kind of spend time indoors. Ooh, especially along with this card here, we see alone time. Really getting in touch with yourself. So this figure here is meditating as they are standing out on this rock within the water there. So making sure you take time to spend some alone time and really focus on yourself. Again, we were seeing that in rose quartz here with that self-love, is not being afraid of, yes, using time to celebrate with other people, but at the same time, when you are done celebrating with them, maybe you need to kind of recoup your energy. Perhaps you're an introvert and this is like sounds like bliss for you, so it's like, yes, I can celebrate with other people, but then I need to pull away and kind of chill for a little bit. That almost feels like something that would be beneficial for you during this time. Lastly, I'm going to pull one of these oracle cards that I have. This one here. Ooh, I pulled 2 for you actually. This is so cute. Okay, so this first card here says post team Bucciarati, and it's write a new story. So these characters on here went through a very rough and long journey, and when they came out on the other side, they had to begin anew with them. And it almost feels again like you are writing something new for yourself. You're either bringing someone in or you are changing your life quite drastically at this point, and it's really bringing about this newness to you. And then on this card here, it says in memoriam, and it says choose to evolve, choose love. So again, really choosing this sort of love for yourself and for other people around you. And what's very interesting is this was the group that was together. So it's interesting seeing all of them together here. It feels very complete. Like it doesn't feel like we're missing out on anything. It feels again like our lives are complete and like things are just really coming together. And then lastly, I'm going to shuffle these cards for one last little message before we go. This one, I want this one. All right, it says, courage is the key to the gateway of life. Expansion and freedom are on the other side. And that's so amazing because I mentioned that earlier too in this very first card with the Finch and Peach. I mentioned freedom, that feeling of movement, that feeling of freedom, being able to take it to the skies. And then also we saw expansion in the Three of Wands here, where you're able to finally make this, have this preparation and have this expansion come to your life. So yes, you need to bring courage into your life and wield that courage in order to really point yourself in that right direction and know that you are being backed by the universe. It's not trying to fight you on this. It's really here to work with you during this time. So quickly to recap group number one, we had the Finch and Peach with the romance. Again, that feeling of a sweetness coming into your life, that free movement, that freedom with the bird, or perhaps a message. In the Three of Wands here, we're seeing preparation and foresight towards something and this need for expansion and really you starting a new journey during this time of Mabon. Then we have the Three of Cups, which is about celebration and friendships, also about really getting together with your community and again, creativity. So we mentioned that later too with feeling very creative, almost artistic in a sense. And for some of you, I was getting almost like you guys are going to be really like celebrating with other people, perhaps over a pregnancy, and you're gonna tell everyone the good news. Next, we had the Eight of Wands, and this brought about quick movement, a lot of speed, a lot of this like quick change that's happening. And it can also indicate travel. So if you aren't traveling now, you could be in the future. Also, if the pregnancy thing isn't aligning with you, this could very much just simply be I don't know why it didn't hit me until just now, but this could be about like an engagement or a wedding, because we obviously had romance, we had you planning for something, a big celebration, possibly moving on to a honeymoon kind of thing. And then we had, again, this write a new story and choosing love. So lots of romance things that I didn't quite pick up on. But for some of you, if you're seeing the end of this reading, yes, this could very much be just celebrating a wedding. Maybe you're getting married on Mabon. And if you are, that's amazing. And I would love to hear it in the comments. And then lastly, we had the Ten of Wands here, which showed this, this knowledge of you having to put in a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of stress and responsibility during this time, but whatever you're working on, you are going to achieve your goals. At the very end of the day, the universe is there for you and you are going to achieve those goals. Then we had Virgo, Rose Quartz, which says self-love and compassion, and Aquarius showing up for you. For the self-care cards, we had watch a movie and alone time. So it could possibly be that you, sorry, something just fell. It could possibly be that you need a little bit of alone time after all of these celebrations, and maybe your way to wind down is to watch a movie. And then for the last few messages, we had write a new story and choose to evolve, choose love, which is just such a beautiful message together, because again, I mentioned before how all of these characters worked in tandem with one another. They were on the same team. So it feels very fitting that it almost feels like your life is just coming all together. And then lastly, we had courage is the key to the gateway of life. Expansion and freedom are on the other side. So don't be afraid to wield your courage and head forward into this new chapter in your life. So if you guys got this far in your reading group one, thank you guys so much. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick a card readings in the future and to join the Crow Coven. And also, I'm so interested, if you have like a pregnancy or a marriage or something, please comment that down below. I would love to know, and I would love to congratulate you on that, because it was just such a strong message that I was pulling out of this. Otherwise, if you guys are focusing on new opportunities or new ideas, I wish you all the best, and I will see you guys in our next video. Hello group 2, and welcome to your reading all about your Mabon messages. So this is for this upcoming Saturday, the 23rd. Starting out, you chose the salamander and black pepper, and on this card it says inspiration. So for this card, if you chose it because of the black salamander with that really sharp yellow contrast, or just the word inspiration, that this is going to be for you. I'm feeling like this drive for new inspiration. I'm feeling like you're going to be filled up with this newness, and it's really going to drive you forward in what it is that you're working toward. Lastly, the other message I'm getting is with the black pepper and the salamander, I really tie those things together with the element of fire. So either you have fire in your chart that is driving you toward this inspiration, or I'm seeing this movement coming about now. It's almost like it's turning into your sphere right now. It's bringing a change in you where you're going to have this fiery sort of passion about movement and change and really getting to the bottom of things and getting really excited about things. Again, really passionate. Then we have in this yellow adventuring that same sort of like warm coloring, and one that really fills us with this sense of compassion and really understanding ourselves and others around us. It can also really help when you have been going through a pretty tumultuous time regarding your emotions, and can hopefully help settle those emotions and have you really be able to bring those to focus. Next, I'm going to roll this Astro Dice a few times to either get your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps someone who's going to be important to you during this time. The first one we're seeing is a fire sign with Sagittarius. Next, we have Cancer. And lastly, we have Aries. So we've got two of those fire signs popping on out. I'll set that aside for you. So let's get into your reading group number 2. I hope you guys have had an amazing week and that your week just gets better from here on out. Let's shuffle this up a little bit. Can we get messages for group 2 for Mabon? The first card we have coming out is the Six of Wands in the reverse position. Ooh. This card wanted to follow, and then these followed suit. So I'm going to take this card here. Five of Swords reversed. I'd like 2 more, please. Not these, but I will take the Tower. There's many more behind it. And 1 more, please. The Four of Wands. All right. So with that Tower moment that it really fell out, it was very, very dramatic. Don't be scared. Anytime I see this Tower, I always get a little bit nervous because it almost feels like this reading is almost giving me like you're currently in a situation where things are a little bit out of your control. and you're having a hard time being able to right yourself on this. This is telling a very clear story though. So let's get into it, group number 2. The first card that we are seeing is the Six of Wands reversed. And this card comes out when there is possibly either you suffering from a lack of confidence or a possibility of you either having a fall from grace moment where you did something that caused other people to look at you in a way that made you seem like less than their expectations of you. It hurt your reputation. It maybe made people disappointed in you, or you were involved in a situation where blame was almost tossed upon you and you were like the scapegoat in the situation, and now you're sitting there being like, how do I do? Like you couldn't control that moment. If you weren't involved and you weren't the person who had this hurt ego kind of moment, it could have possibly been someone in your life. And the reason why I'm saying that is because right next to it, we're seeing this Five of Swords reversed. And in this card here, this is really about having this want to change and holding on to this past resentment from something. So it could have been that somebody did something to you and you're kind of like still bitter about it, which I mean, I get it. Also in the upright position, this tends to be about there's some sort of like conflict going on. There's something where someone really did something to hurt you, like betray you, or really did something where they were like just striving for the end goal and they didn't listen to anybody else. And again, because it's reversed, it almost feels like there is resentment from this situation, whether it's you who are holding on to this resentment or other people are resenting you for some reason. But we are seeing, again, this card indicates this willingness and this openness to actually changing. So if you were the person who was the catalyst in this moment, it could be that you have looked upon your past actions and you have done a lot of growing and done a lot of maturing, which is such a beautiful and brave thing to do. And you sat there and been like, you know what? No, I want to do better. I want to be different and no longer hold on to these past resentments that I have toward myself. So again, if you need to really alleviate any grief or like work on your emotions, that Yellow Adventuring is there for you. Again, for most of you, I'm getting that this is a moment that happened from other people and you got kind of caught in the crossfires, which is making it harder for you to move on. I'm wondering if it's currently going on, because we see then this Tower moment here, and this card, like when it fell, it not only like dropped out really solidly, but it also dropped out a few cards underneath of it, and there were just so many I didn't want to read all of them for you, but because we're seeing that sharp movement, it almost feels like a Tower moment is going to be happening very shortly. It could be happening on or around Mabon. So this is a great time for you to take some advice and really prepare yourself during this time, because the Tower is very much this sudden upheaval. It's this sudden change that happens, or a really intense, striking revelation where you either get the final puzzle piece or somebody does something to cause things to shift. And because of this, you have this sudden realization of things that have happened. It's like, oh, everything makes sense kind of thing. And you have this, again, quick change moment that happens that really drastically alters how you think and feel about the situation. And this, it always sucks because it feels out of our control, because this is an external force. This isn't you spearheading this change. It's not you being like, yeah, I want to get better or I want to make a difference. It's literally like you're sitting there minding your own business and then something happens. So it could be that there's something that's going to come to head during this time, and this is almost like very recent past, and then this happens. But we are seeing a very positive movement beyond this tower moment for you, group number 2, with the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is a celebration. It is about harmony and within not only yourself, but also your community. And then also tends to indicate like a happy home / marriage situation. So it's very interesting that there's all of this like negativity and like upsetness here, a sudden realization, and then things are just like peachy keen. It almost feels like, which sometimes this really gives me fire energy, because it is just sudden and so dramatic, and then it's just like calm. So really, I do see this positive outcome for you, but it almost feels like you might be going through something before you're able to reach this positive outcome. At the very least, it is coming for you, and just to keep your mind in the positive. Don't try to focus on these past resentments, this past pain, whether you caused it or someone else in your life caused it. Try not to beat yourself up over this situation here, and just know that you do have a brighter future ahead coming for you. So for group 2, let's head further into your reading. Let's pull some more messages for group 2. I'd love to give them some more positive messages during this time. The first one we have, wow, coming out is Rose Quartz, saying self-love and compassion. And I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier with that yellow adventuring, is making sure that you have that compassion for not only yourself, but other people. But for here, especially with it saying self-love, make sure, and with it being tied with the Six of Wands reversed, you almost blaming yourself for something, try to let go of whatever that situation is, because we're seeing it as something that you need to really heal from. Next we have Fireweed. Again, a mention of fire. It says ignite new possibilities and adventures. Kind of reminds me of this inspiration card here, truly, with like those new possibilities, having new inspiration. Perhaps because of the situation that goes on, you get inspired because of this tower moment. You almost realize, again, you come to that revelation of something that needs to change, and because you make that shift, it ends up inspiring you further, leads you to those new possibilities and adventures. Lastly, I have pulled Gemini, and it says versatile, social, and curious. So these could be either in your chart somewhere, or it could be traits that you need to take on during this time. Let me tell you, Gemini, if there is something that needs to be revealed, if there's like a puzzle piece that needs to be found, Gemini is going to find it. There are little detectives, they're gonna find it. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward into some self-love cards for you, group number 2. What are some things that group 2 can do during this time to practice self-love and self-care? The first we have is journal. So if you don't already do this, maybe make a note of it. Haha, like get it in your journal. Make sure you work on writing out your emotions during this time too. You can be really surprised what you can find out about yourself if you just sit down and let yourself write, because there are times where I'll think I have everything completely like planned out. I'll know exactly how I feel about a situation. And then I'll sit down with like blank piece of paper and a pen, and I will just start writing, and I just won't stop. And I'll just sit there and be like, what is up with all of this that just suddenly appeared? It's completely different revelations, again, completely different thought processes about things, because I had the opportunity to let myself just go instead of holding back. Next we have spend time with animals. This is so cute. So if you have a pet of your own, give them a few extra cuddles during this time. They are so intuitive, and they work on such base instinct that they really can tell when you are going through hard times, and they bring about such a calming energy, especially if you approach them with a calm energy. as well. So if you have a lovely little pet that you enjoy spending time with, make sure you give them a little extra love during this time, because they will be offering that back to you as well. Then I'm going to pull one of these oracle cards for you for group 2. Any last Mabon messages that we can get? In this card here, it says the Bucciarati team, and it says celebrate your friendships. So again, those who are closest to you, who are actually on your side, and the ones who would do anything for you, those are the people that you need to celebrate. So it's very possible that you went through some hardships with people in the past, considering we were seeing that here, that I really feel like this is going to bring about this sudden change, and you're going to have this revelation of who is actually close to you in your life and who you want to keep with you. And because of that, it's going to lead you towards this harmonious ending with everyone. So really do some thinking, do some journaling, and kind of see who is there for you and who needs to end up like leaving your circle during this time. I really get this feeling like it's something that is a necessary change that you're kind of scared to do. And it's like, it almost feels like you've known that this has had to happen and you've just kind of been avoiding it. So I was shuffling these cards and this card flew right out. So I wanted to pull it for you. It says, what do you see? I'm possible or impossible, and it says perception matters. So really knowing that you are the person who decides what it is that you plan on having in your life, what it is that you can control during this time, because again, I feel like it's a little bit out of your control and it'll finally swing back to being in your control, but you have to also see what you can and can't control. And then this last card says, your stories are all you have. Change your story, change your life. Write your way to greatness today. So again, it's kind of hand in hand almost. It feels like if you want to make a change, wow, and the fact that it's over the tower. So if you want to make a change, or if you have to make a change, the universe is going to be there for you to either do that, or you can do that for yourself, is kind of the vibe I'm getting with both of these cards here together in tandem. Also, again, writing. So journaling. If you are a writer, that is very interesting. It could be that maybe you'll gain inspiration from this moment that has been happening. This tower moment is going to hit you with this sudden realization, and you're going to get this sudden inspiration to possibly write a story. That is an interesting message for possibly one or two of you. So anyway, group number 2, let's go ahead and recap real fast for you. So in the Six of Wands reversed, we have this this lack of confidence, or this moment that was a fall from grace moment, either on your part or somebody within your life, and perhaps you're still clinging onto that person, wanting to still remain their friend, but perhaps they did something that you don't see matching on your values, and because of that, it is causing issues in your life. Then we have the Five of Swords reversed, that's showing that there is this past resentment that you or other people are holding on to, but there is this feeling and this want to change, this openness to actually change. We have this Tower card coming out with, again, the big Tower moment, a sudden upheaval of your life, a sudden deep change, or a revelation that's going to be coming about. And it is an external thing. So this is going to be happening, and you're just going to have to lift yourself up after the fact. Then lastly, we had the Four of Wands there that shows that you are going to have, after this Tower moment, this celebration, this sense of community, harmony within yourself and your life, perhaps even a harmony within your home and marriage. We pulled rose quartz with self-love and compassion, fireweed saying ignite new possibilities and adventures, and then Gemini all here, again, really tapping into that compassion for yourself and other people, and also the possibility that you could be inspiring yourself with these new possibilities and adventures. Something that's happening could be inspiring you to go on these new adventures. For self-care, we had journaling and spending time with animals, two very beautiful and introspective things you can be doing, especially taking note of people who may be inspired to write a novel. And then lastly, we had this card here saying celebrate your friendship. So really know who has been here for you during this time and celebrate those people. Don't celebrate people who are touch and go with you or who may hurt you one time and then be there for you the next kind of thing. You don't need that in your life. Lastly, we have these two cards up here that kind of worked together, where it almost gives this feeling of like, while you are out of control right now, you have control over certain aspects of your life, and you need to make sure that you watch out for those, because those are things that you can change, and you need to gather your strength to be able to change the ones that you do have that control over. So thank you guys so much for getting this far in your reading group number 2. If you liked it or it resonated with you, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick card readings in the future. And also, I'm very, very curious if you are going through this situation right now, please let me know. I'm very curious also for people who may be novelists who feel like they get a sudden inspiration. If you are watching this video after Mabon or this happens and you remember, please come back here and leave a comment. I would love to hear about this inspiration that you have. Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing Mabon, and I will see you guys in our next video. Hello group number 3, and welcome to reading all about your Mabon messages. So if you chose the Frog and Lotus with Metamorphosis, then this is going to be your reading for today. And in this card here, I obviously chose this one to really represent those water signs. And so I'm really getting this feeling of dealing with a change in your emotions especially. This can be any sort of change, but I am really feeling as if you guys are going to be able to get a handle on your emotions and be able to process them a lot better during this time. This could also indicate that perhaps you are a water sign or you have water strongly in your chart. Next, we have this bloodstone, which really can help with enhancing your alignment on things, again, especially with aligning on your emotions, and also having this really gentle energy flow. So not feeling like you are going through a like rocky time or really rough waters or anything. Everything just feels very smooth. It can also help in purifying things. So again, like if you're purifying water, helping in purifying your energy or things that are just around you in general. And it can help remove emotional blocks. And then lastly, I would love to roll this astro dice for you to see if we can tap into your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps someone important to you during this time. So the first one we are seeing is Libra. Whoa, it just sort of dropped. Pisces is the next one. So here's one of our water signs. And then Taurus, which is very interesting because I've actually pulled Taurus for all 3 groups now. So I'll set this aside for you guys. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get started in your reading group number 3. So this is for your Mabon messages. I hope you have had an amazing week and that it just continues to get better for you. So let's tap into group 3. What do they need to know around Mabon this upcoming Saturday, the 23rd? Ooh, the first we have is the moon in the reverse position. So talk about emotions and water signs as well. The moon is represented by Cancer. Then we have the 8 of Swords in the reverse position. the 8 of Pentacles in the reverse position. So interesting that there are 2 8s in a row. And then one last card for group number 3. And lastly, Strength. Wow, this is a very beautiful reading. I'm so happy for you, group number 3. It looks scary with all the reversals, but honestly, this is very much about you wanting to make a very distinct change. And again, kind of drawing upon that metamorphosis. You really want to go through this movement. So starting off in the Moon reverse, this is about really releasing your fear. And to start off with, it can look almost like a negative because there's a lot of confusion going on during this time, and even the possibility of you dealing with a bit of unhappiness because you are just, again, you're feeling very confused. You're not sure the path you need to take, and it just feels overall very, just like really stressful because you're not quite sure how to tap into yourself and how to bring this change about. But really, it's one of those moments where you realize that it's within you all along, and you are finally going to be able to tap into that, specifically dealing with that release of your fear. You're no longer letting anxiety hold you back when it comes to situations. You're not going to let it run your life. You're simply going to recognize it as a thing that you need to deal with, and you're going to be able to push beyond that. We're seeing in the 8 of Swords reverse that this is a moment of release as well. So it's very interesting that we had this release of fear, and then again, another card that is sharing that you are going to be releasing something. In the Swords, it really deals with a lot of like mental blocks, and especially things dealing with your mindset. So the 8 of Swords can also help indicate that you are open to new perspectives. You're ready and willing to let your mind see new things. So again, you're going through this change, almost this metamorphosis, where maybe you used to always think a very certain way about something, and because you have seen hardships from thinking that way for like so long, you finally get to this point where you're like, you know what, why don't I change my mind about this? Why don't I just see things from this new point of view? And you allow yourself finally to do that, and it starts bringing about this change within you as well, that you start being able to tangibly see. Because we're seeing the moon here, I see this as a very noticeable change. It's not something that's happening in the background or that you're not aware of. It might be something that you have been talking about to yourself for some time, and you finally are like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Or perhaps when it starts to change, you and other people around you are able to tell that this is a thing that's happening. In the 8 of Pentacles in the reverse position, there is this moment here that I wanted to bring to your attention where you could be lacking some sort of focus or even the ambition to push forward on whatever it is that you're trying to change. So these two are really hand in hand. So this is kind of the warning. This is the warning of you either lack that ambition or focus, or you are being too much of a perfectionist when it comes to trying to make this change, that it's almost stopping you. But hand in hand, we have Strength, which is also funny, and I did not realize this until just this moment, but we had 8, 8, and then the Strength card is also 8. So 8s could be really important to you. And also another thing is 8 is the infinity symbol. So constant movement, constant change going on, that metamorphosis is again very linked to you during this time. In Strength here, it talks about having the courage and the strength to release these fears, and also to really continue forward. So if you are lacking that ambition, or that lacking that focus. My brain was out of focus, lacking that focus. Strength is here to help you gain control of that situation and gain that courage to push yourself forward in order to achieve what it is that you want to change in your life. This card is also about compassion and patience. So giving yourself those things during that time, knowing change can't just be an instant overnight thing. You have to let yourself be and take time to fulfill this. Yes, Mabon might be a great time for you to be like, you know what, I'm setting this goal for myself. I really want to start changing my life from this point on. But just know that progress is a slow and steady pace. And I say this from someone who is, I'm 35 now, and things that I have needed to change in my mindset, in the way that I live my life, in the way that I believe others live their lives. It has taken me a long time to be able to come to terms with these things and work through where I feel I have my own hardships and my own flaws, being able to work through and come to the realization that yes, certain things need to change, or certain things that I need to go through to just make my life better. So just know that you are going to have actually a very beautiful time during Mabon, where either a sudden realization or you're just going to intuitively know that this is something that you've been wanting to work on for some time. It's finally coming to fruition. It's finally coming to the forefront of your mind, and you are going to have the strength to push through. So that is amazing, group number 3. Let's head further into your reading. I'd love to pull a few more cards for you to kind of flesh this out. So any further Mabon messages for group number 3? The first card we are pulling out is this mycorrhizal fungi, which says connect with your soul community. So if you are somebody who you have been working toward having just more long-lasting friends, or you've been trying to tap it into the right people who are on the same vibration as you, I think you're going to be able to do that during this time, especially when you start to shed this old mindset, start to release this fear of the unknown, this fear of just life in general. When you start to release that, you're going to be able to connect with people who are on your same level and people who want to grow with you. This is all about interconnections here too. So possibly even working within yourself to connect within you to really recognize these situations. Oh my gosh, this card. So in Rose Quartz, self-love and compassion. Again, we were talking about compassion earlier, and especially having compassion toward yourself, not like beating yourself up over situations or anything like that. And I said that about the card when I pulled it, because I've also pulled this card into other readings. So, you know, just everyone has to have a lot more compassion for themselves and other people, and a lot more self-love during this time. And then lastly, this also came up in the last reading here in the same exact spot. So Gemini is coming through. So versatile, social, and curious. So Gemini is, if I do say so myself, because I am a Gemini, we do so much overthinking because we're very analytical and we like to kind of figure things out like they're puzzles. So this is one of those things where when we are met with, why am I thinking this way? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I holding on to all this fear? We will sit there and think about these things over and over again and just sort of twist it around until we come to every single answer that we have to deem the best, the most worthy one and go toward that. So really during this time, being curious about yourself and how you feel, I think is something that's going to be very important to you. Also, this social here and connecting with your soul family. If you have time to connect with people on a deeper level, having really deep conversations or being able to meet new people who could possibly bring you into these deeper conversations, please do that, because I think that would be very beneficial to you during this time. What are some self-care routines that group 3 can implement during this time to kind of help them out, make their journey a little bit easier? I did pull 2, so we'll go with This first one here says make a meal. So if you are somebody who doesn't normally cook your own food, maybe during this time, really focus on homemade meals. Or I also love to do intention work, especially when it comes to making food, because I cook all the time. I cook all 3 meals every single day. So I really put in a lot of thought and positivity and different intentions into the meals that I'm making. If you're somebody who doesn't cook, or you're like, I would just burn it and have intention of burnedness in my life, then if you are somebody who has like a fun little drink that you enjoy, so if you love making yourself coffee or tea during the day, even when you're stirring, try to put in that positive energy, try to put in that willingness to change, that movement, that compassion for yourself, kind of like drinking that warm drink, having that compassion and warm fuzzy feeling for yourself. Do that during this time. Wow, we also have positive affirmations. So with this card coming up here, it's saying I love myself and like I choose love. Things like that is really trying to call toward you that you do need to have a lot of patience and love for yourself. Again, self-love and compassion, you need to harness that during this time. So it can seem a little silly, but maybe during Mabon, choose like 1 or 2 affirmations that you bounce between. Wake up in the morning, pull out your phone. You don't even have to go to your bathroom mirror. You can just pull out your phone, hit that little button so it faces you, and just say these affirmations toward yourself. Even if it's something as small as that, do it for who knows how long you can keep up a streak of it, honestly. If you want to just go for a week and see how you feel, go for a week. If you want to do longer, because these can really help instill this change in your mindset. Honestly, it's kind of like brainwashing yourself. You're literally speaking this intention, you're speaking this affirmation to yourself over and over and over again until you believe it. And you needing to have this change, going through this metamorphosis, this could be a beautiful time to really put in more positive affirmations towards yourself, especially yourself. I'm really feeling this is a need for self-love. So you really putting this positivity towards yourself is gonna help you in the long run. In the last couple cards, I'm going to pull one of these oracle cards. So for group 3, any last Mabon messages? Okay. This card here says Risotto Nero, and it says visualization of one's greatest self. So in this card here, you being able to recognize that you need to change and recognize that you want to change. What is your greatest self? Who are they? Really sit down and figure out exactly what kind of person you want to be. And of course, this can be anything, but if you want to start with something small, kind of look at your current personality. And if you're like, you know what, I want to work on this, this, and this, try to work on changing the mindset in those 3 areas first, instead of trying to do this huge overhaul of your person and of your personality. If you are somebody who is a mega introvert and you think that this is like all you'll ever be and you're so scared of talking to people, instead of you being like, you know what, I'm gonna make a change and I'm gonna be the most extroverted person out there and I'm going to constantly throw parties and blah, blah, blah. That is not sustainable and is not something that is going to, it's not aligned with your truest self. If you're afraid of talking to people and you're very introverted, honor your introverted nature, because we need balance. We need both people in the world. Instead, focus on you, focus on your inner self, and then you can go, what are these steps that I can take to start changing this a little bit at a time? If you're like, I want to start making more friends, I want to have this soul community, reach out to just a couple people. You don't have to be someone who's here for everyone. You can just be here on this planet for just a few people, and that love is enough to sustain you as well as them. And that was just a really sudden rant, but I really feel like somebody needed to hear that. But again, to go back to this, visualize who you want to be and who you can achieve, and then take these small steps toward that. Lastly, I'm going to pull one of these cards. I was really feeling this one almost immediately. It says, your superpower is the ability to choose what you tune into, so choose creatively now. So really about making these hard-hitting choices in your life and the things that you need to, again, choose, the things that you need to tap into and really work on. It can also be talking very literally about someone who is creative, and maybe you have a very creative mind and this is what you're trying to work toward. But I'm really feeling like you have the power to make this difference within yourself. It's just about whether or not you're actually going to do it. I think with a little bit of patience and power and strength, you're going to be able to reach that goal for sure. So to recap real fast at group number 3, the moon reversed, we're seeing this release of your fear. You might be a little bit confused and unhappy right now, but it's because you're in this weird transitional period. You're trying to go through this metamorphosis. So knowing that you have to release something is the beginning of the battle. Then we have the 8 of Swords reverse, which again, we have this feeling of release and you being open to these new perspectives, being open to wanting to change your mindset. In the 8 of Pentacles reversed, we see that you either are lacking in your ambition or your focus. Maybe you're being pulled in a few directions right now and you need to kind of narrow it down. You need to really hone in on the like 1 or 2 things that you really want to change right now. It can also indicate that you're being a little bit of a perfectionist and you need to kind of lean back on that just a little bit in order to get things moving, because if you are pushing too hard on one thing, you're not going to make any movement at all. And then lastly, up here we had the Strength card. So you are going to be able to be victorious. You're going to hold on to this control. You're going to have a lot of courage and strength to move forward. Hold patience and compassion for yourself during this time, and you will be able to make it in the world. I also wanted to point out once more that we did have 3 8s in a row. So maybe you constantly see the number 8. Maybe that is your favorite number, or again, that infinity symbol, knowing there's this ebb and flow, knowing there's this constant change and movement can maybe help you during this time. We then pulled the mycorrhizal fungi, which says connect with your soul community, rose quartz that says self-love and compassion, and Gemini. Then in the self-care cards, we had make a meal. So try to breathe intentions into your meal, try to stir those intentions into your meal, as well as positive affirmations. So kind of going hand in hand. Yes, there's the health benefits of making your own meal and really taking it in your own hands to create your own meal so you know exactly what's going on in there, but also putting in those intentions at the same time and really trying to speak those positive intentions into yourself, those affirmations into you. And then we had visualization of one's greatest self. So really looking at yourself, looking what is actually possible, and going, where do I want to be like 5 years from now? Who do I want to be 5 years from now? And start taking those steps. Slowly but surely make your way toward that ultimate goal. And lastly, we had your superpower is the ability to choose what you tune into. So choose creatively now. So that was your recap group number 3. Thank you guys so much for getting this far in your reading. Remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Tarot Pick a Card readings in the future, and also to join the Crow Coven. And I am so very curious. Are you guys going through this change? Like, can you feel this? I would love to know if that resonated with you. I'm also so very interested in these 8s. Is 8 an important number to you? Is there anything that you can think on that is either 8 items that you have or something to do with 8 that really like clings to your life? Because it's just so funny that I commented when there were only 2, and then we pulled that last one and I didn't even notice it until a little bit later. But anyway, group number 3, I hope you have an amazing Mabon. It seems like you're going to be going through some really good changes, but just remember to have compassion towards yourself and be very, very patient for this progress to take place. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading all about your Mabon messages. So if you chose the Hare and Oak with this new opportunities, then this is going to be for you for today. And in this card, I chose this one to really represent Earth signs. So if you have Earth sign in your chart, especially your sun, moon, or rising, then this is definitely for you. This sense of new opportunities and almost this new sort of beginning really gives me this feeling like you have this journey that you want to go on and you've been meaning to go on, but perhaps you've been a little bit shy and it's kind of held you back a little bit. That's almost a feeling that I'm getting, but I think it's because we're seeing this prey animal here where they can be a little skittish, but if you have ever owned a rabbit, or if you've seen rabbits or hares in the wild, they are a little surprising because they can be also very, very spunky. So that is maybe some messages that you need to hear during this time. And then next we have the Sunstone, and this really represents this joyful kind of moment. It can really help lift dark moods, especially if you are someone who is prone to dealing with depression. Even more specifically, if you have issues with like the seasonal affective disorders or SAD, if you get really, really like just out of it during the seasons when we start losing light, this can really help you during this time, which I actually deal with that quite a lot. It can also really help encourage you having this sense of originality in developing your own independence, so you not having to rely so heavily on other people around you. Next, I'm going to roll this Astro dice to see if we can pull either your sign or the sign of someone that's important in your life. So this can be your sun, moon, or rising. The first one we're seeing is Libra. Ooh, Libra a second time, and it was very like, it just sort of dropped out of my hand and it was Libra. So Libra could be very, very important during this time. And then lastly, we have Taurus, which is not only an earth sign, but it's so interesting because I'm fairly certain I rolled Taurus for every single group as one of them. So very interesting that we have such strong Taurus energy coming out right now. Let's get into your reading, group number 4. I hope you guys had an amazing week and I hope it just continues to get better. Let's tap into your energy. I would love to know what is going on during their Mabon. Can we get some messages for them? The first we're pulling out is the 2 of Wands in the reverse position. These all follow, but I am going to take this one that was standing right front and center with the Hermit. Next, we have the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse position. And one final card, please. Temperance in the reverse position. Interesting. All right, you are seeing a lot of cards that are needing to deal with having more balance in your life. I'm seeing it almost as if like you know this kind of thing. It almost feels like you're a little bit burnt out and you have been struggling to try to do too many things, to keep too many people happy, and to work on so many things that it's really hard to bring about these new opportunities to you. However, I am seeing this almost as kind of advice for your Mabon. So while the outcome is still a little bit on the shaky side, I'm hoping that you can take some messages from watching through to the end of your reading that you can actually go forward and change your path right now during this time of Mabon, because what we're seeing is in the Two of Wands reversed, there is this fear of the unknown. You are afraid of making the wrong choice. You're afraid of going down the wrong path, and it's keeping you stagnant. It's really keeping you stuck right now, and it's hard for you to break out of that. We're also seeing that there's possibly a lack of planning where you want to make this new journey. Again, like I mentioned, it feels like you want to go on a new journey, but you're a little shy or something's holding you back. It feels like because there is no real planning that has been put into place, it's kind of making it so, again, it's really stagnant and like you're not able to make those giant leaps like you wanted to. Next, we're seeing in the Hermit, there is this need for you to come within yourself and settle your mind. You need to really be alone during this time. I think there's a need for you to sit down and really tap into your inner self, work on your introspection, and search your soul when it comes to what exactly it is that you are looking for, what it is that you need to be focusing on during this time. I'm especially drawn toward his lantern in this card right now, where they're sitting underneath of it. They're being covered by the lantern's rays, but again, there's nobody else around this figure, and they're just sitting there contemplating. Yes, there is this light that's shining around them, but they're really drawn within themselves. I'm also seeing this as your bit of inspiration, that new opportunity that could be coming toward you. I'm seeing this moment of, if you are pulling inward and you are really focusing on yourself, you're gonna have that like eureka moment. You're gonna have this burst of, you know what, I finally know what it is that I want. Surrounding this card, however, we also have the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse position, and this card lets you know that you are, again, putting in way too much work. This is an imbalance in your work and home life commitments, to the point where you almost feel like you don't have time for anything else. So if you are an earth sign, you may know this already, or if you have earth sign tendencies, it could be that you're overworking yourself. You could be really forcing yourself to just keep on working overtime or keep on grinding. You're on some sort of hustle in order to make a second, third, fourth income stream. And because of that, you're not giving yourself any time for yourself. You're feeling out of balance, like we're seeing here in Temperance. And because of that, you're not being fed the proper information that you need to make new decisions that are going to give you these new opportunities. Something has to give. It feels like there's something that has to change before you are going to get these new ideas, suddenly eureka moment bursting back into your life. Lastly, we're seeing in Temperance reversed that there is, yes, this imbalance, but also we're seeing this lack of a long-term vision. So kind of like how we mentioned here in the Two of Wands, this lack of planning, is that you also don't have a vision for your end goal. And it could be that you used to have one, or it could be that you were like, oh, I'll figure it out as I go. But as you've gone, you haven't moved that goalpost further to your next goal. So you may have reached that point, and now you're sitting there being like, you maybe celebrated, and now you're just kind of like afloat and you haven't reached for something more. But human beings are so intense when it comes to reaching goals. Like, we are so goal driven, even if we don't believe that we are. If you set up the right motivation and the right goal and reward for yourself, you really can get very, very far. So maybe think on that during your time of introspection and see exactly what it is that you want. What vision do you want to bring to the forefront of your life? This can also indicate, like I had mentioned before, that imbalance. Again, this imbalance in your work and life. There's something going on where you are you're doing too much. There's this excess of too much of something that is throwing the rest of your life out of whack, and you need to kind of get that back in control. And maybe that's you sitting down and being very, very real with yourself during this time. So group number 4, hopefully you are able to move past this. You're able to take this advice and really work on this time during Mabon. And again, it could be that a new opportunity is coming toward you, but in order for you to take that on, you have to sort a few things out. So you might not even be suffering from too much of this. It's just that it's letting you know that there's going to be a time where if you want that new opportunity, you do have to critically look at these things. So let's pull some more messages for group 4. I would love some more positive messages. The first one we have coming out is Scorpio, and I should have said this earlier because the Hermit is also ruled by Scorpio, and I was feeling it, but then I didn't say it. So it's coming out to really indicate something. It shares with us honest, determined, and focused. So maybe that's it, is you needing to be determined and focused and honest with yourself about what it is that you can do realistically and what it is that you want to do in order to move forward. While we're here, we may as well mention it. Temperance is also ruled by Sagittarius, so that could be either in your chart or something that you might need to focus on is pulling about some Sagittarius traits. And I'm gonna keep shuffling these because those that flew out did not feel right. The next message we have for you, group 4, is Citrine, which says abundance. And on this card as well, I always see this as such a positive and happy stone. Citrine really brings about this like joyful mood. It kind of reminds me of sunstone. Again, we've got the sun here as well. It's not the same one, but it kind of gives that same overall feeling, that joyfulness, that positivity, and yes, abundance. So you're going to be able to be abundant during this time, whether it's because you are actually harvesting some crops, or if you are being presented with a new opportunity that you actually get to take on. There's going to be this new possibility for you that I think that you will be able to do it. You're going to be able to kind of juggle all these things, but you first of all have to look at yourself pretty critically and get yourself back in line, because again, we have the 2 of Wands, which 2s always deal with some sort of balance issue, especially if it's reversed, and then Temperance reversed, specifically pointing out that there's something going on. And then this last card we pulled is First Quarter, and it says, I open doorways to possibility. So I think I literally just said that. It's like you being able to have these new opportunities, this new possibility that's coming into your life. Again, really doing that soul searching, really evening yourself back out, so then when that new possibility, new opportunity comes to you, you will be ready for it. All right, group 4, let's get into your self-care cards. Let's see, what can group 4 do during this time, during Mabon, to kind of settle themselves and maybe help themselves regain that sense of balance? Ooh, this first one I have never pulled, actually. It is deep breathing. So really, even right now, just take a moment to just like breathe in very, very deeply. And then release that breath. And just allow yourself to sit and calm. We have this figure holding their hand over their heart. It almost gives me this universe vibe with the, this looks like a galaxy, and then again over their mind, how there's all these planets. Again, really gives me this feeling of the Hermit going within to allow your mind to expand. Maybe practice some deep breathing meditations. You can find guided meditation almost anywhere, whether you want to listen to it as a podcast or if it's something that you want to find as a video on YouTube. There's so many resources that if you haven't done proper deep breathing before, please look into it, especially during this time, because I think you can really balance yourself. I have always used deep breathing techniques as a way to balance myself. Maybe it's because I'm an air sign, but maybe it's just because it simply works, and it really helps me able to align myself with what it is that I need to be focusing on at that time. Next we have drink tea, and I also have never pulled this card, so this is so cute and very interesting. In drink tea here, I'm very drawn toward the fact that they are once again assuming this position of meditation. So maybe you can incorporate that within yourself, within your meditation, is sitting down with some tea, drinking that tea as you listen to calming music, and then going into this deep breathing exercise. If you have a hard time relaxing yourself, this is going to be an amazing time to do so. And also maybe even look into the different types of teas. So there's so many, but if you don't know much about tea, there are teas that obviously have caffeine in them, and then there are herbal teas that are made simply out of herbs, and they do not contain caffeine if they are made from an herb that does not have caffeine, and those can really help bring you back into centering yourself as well. So maybe look into both of these things. It feels very you focused on yourself again. I really think that there isn't a lot of outside influence going on in your life at this time. I don't think there's a lot of people that are trying to change your mind on things. Like, maybe they have things to say about it, but overall, because we're seeing this Hermit and these cards featuring figures that are alone, it really feels like it's time for you to bring it in and focus inward. We're gonna pull an oracle card for you, group 4. Just the last couple messages before we will end out with a recap. Ooh, wow. In this card, this says the arrow, and it says you are the creator. So this is really trying to share with you that you are the person who is going to hold all of the power, and you're also going to hold the everything, like all the tools you need in order to make a change in your life. In being the creator, it is someone who can shape things the way they want, the exact way they want. Again, you don't have to worry about outside influences or what other people may have to say about these situations. You are simply going to trust in yourself during this time, and you are going to bring about that change that you want. This card is very powerful. You can see, like, I'm gonna bring it back up, but you can see like the intense energy that he has in his eyes as he's staring directly at the person viewing this card here. So really having this pointed, straightforward, intense determination is something that I think can help you during this time. And then let's pull one more card for any last messages. For group 4, what's their final message for today? Ooh, this one. All right, this says, your stories are all you have. Change your story, change your life. Write your way to greatness today. So you, again, it's like you are the creator kind of moment where you are the person who's going to have the ability to write whatever story it is that you want next. Whichever way you want your life to go, that's the way it's going to go. But first you have to put in the hard work for it. So quickly, we will recap for you group number 4. You have the Hare and Oak with new opportunities. The Two of Wands reversed is showing this fear of the unknown and being afraid to move beyond what you have, and also possibly this lack of planning. I mentioned how there could be some fear a little bit in this Hare card because they are shy, nervous prey animals, but again, there is that potential and that ability in hares or rabbits where they can be spunky and feisty, so it can be there for you. Next, we had the Hermit, where I really think is trying to drive forward this need for you to go inward, really going about soul searching and introspection, not allowing other people to make decisions for you, and really tapping into your inner guidance. Then we had with the Queen of Pentacles reverse, this feeling like you are just really overworking yourself, especially you're focusing way more on your work rather than your life. And because of that, you're having a hard time being able to once more balance yourself, which we're seeing again in Temperance reversed, this need for balance, having excess of something. There's something that you're doing that is too much, and because of that, it is really pushing opportunities away from you. It's also talking about a lack of long-term vision. So you don't have something properly planned. Either you need to set new goals for yourself, or you need to reevaluate the goals that you currently have, see if they're achievable, and if not, you need to break them down into smaller goals in order for you to achieve them, to bring yourself back into balance. Then we had Scorpio, citrine with abundance, and first quarter, I open doorways to possibility. Again, this new opportunity, this new possibility, you are going to be the person who can open this door and really make this change. For the self-care cards, we have deep breathing and drink tea, which again, I have never pulled either of these cards in any of my readings that I've done with them. So it's very interesting that they both came out at the same time, and really about focusing inward and on yourself, something to enjoy and take care of yourself in for the health benefits, or just simply to help you relax. And then this deep breathing, being able to meditate and really open your mind up to new and different possibilities, and also to really balance yourself, because it can be so helpful to use this technique to balance yourself. Then we had the Arrow with you are the creator. So again, you are the person who is going to take charge, who has this ability to really point yourself in the right direction and just go for it. Again, a lot of focus, a lot of determination, and you will be able to reach your goal. And lastly, we had your stories are all you have. Change your story, change your life. Write your way to greatness today. Another indication that you are going to be the person that brings about this change, and that you just need to believe in yourself first before you can move forward and bring about this change in your life. So thank you guys so much, group number 4, for getting this far in your reading. If you did, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more tarot pick card readings in the future, and to join the Crow Coven. And I am so curious, group number 4, if this is what you're currently going through. Are you someone who's overworking yourself? Do you feel this imbalance right now? I really want to know kind of what it is that you're going through, and if it's safe for you to do so, feel free to let me know. Like, I would love to kind of get a little bit of insight to see if you can kind of get your gears turning and work on trusting yourself and listening to yourself and really working on your inner focus. Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing Mabon, and I will see you guys in our next video.